Good afternoon. I'm Jenny Beth Martin with Tea Party Patriots Citizens Fund, our 527 Super PAC. Thanks for joining us today live. We are going to be talking about how you can talk to your friends and family to make sure they go vote for President Trump if you're in a swing state or if you know people in a swing state. So get ready to learn what relational organizing is and how to use an app to figure out which of your friends and family are modeled Republican voters who have not yet voted. And we're going to help you match those up so you know who has not yet voted, and then talk to you about how you can talk to these people to get them to vote in the last 72-ish hours. We only have a day and a half or so left for getting out the vote, and then Sunday is election day, and we have a few hours on Sunday to make sure that all the people that we know who are going to vote for Trump go vote for Trump. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. The terminology we'll be using is called relational organizing. We will have an app and we'll show you how to get started on the app and how to use it so you can talk to the friends and family who you know in swing states. So, so what we're going to do first is talk about a new term that you may not have heard before. That term is called relational organizing. And the relational organizing means simply, and Landon, I'm trying to show the screen, but it's not clicking through. So um, just let me know when I'm able to do that. Um, Okay, there we go. So, relational organizing. At its core, relational organizing is building relationships with the people you know and engaging them in the political and electoral process. In years past, we called this a friends and family program. And really, relational organizing means talking to your friends and family to ensure they go and vote. Now, if you've been to a Trump rally or heard or watched a stream or on television a Trump rally recently, or heard JD Vance talking, or any of the surrogates, including Elon Musk, talking about getting out the vote and what you need to do in these last final days, they all are saying, get your friends and family to vote. Make sure you're getting your friends and family to vote. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, how you can get those friends and family to vote. Now, you may already be engaged with a Trump Force 47 volunteer team, or you may be working with Turning Point Action, with Tea Party Patriot Citizens Fund, with America First Works, with several, Elon Musk Super PAC, America PAC, with several other organizations who are going door to door right now in the swing states. All the organizations I listed and more are going door to door in Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and North Carolina. That is very important. And then we're all getting ads and text messages. So we have ads on the things that we are streaming on television, on the news. We've got ads on the radio, and then you're getting text message after text message after text message on your cell phone, I'm sure. So you're just getting as many text messages as I am. It's nonstop. And then on top of that, you're getting mail in your mailbox, and you're getting phone calls, and you're probably thinking, when is it all going to end? Because you're listening to this, you already know how you're going to vote. The fact is that the campaigns and super PACs like ours are making sure that we are chasing every one of those people who are likely to vote for Trump and to make sure you go vote. So if you haven't voted already, you're continuing to get the text messages, you're continuing to have ads targeted towards you. And if you're undecided, or you know people who are undecided, oftentimes it can take anywhere from 30 or more interactions from a campaign and points of touching that voter, that undecided voter, for them to decide who to vote for. So it's sometimes, when they're undecided, can take a lot of communication to get them to make their final decision. So all of those texts, all the mail, all the door knocking, all of those items are actually very important, because if somebody is undecided, they still need more information to make their mind up, and that's what those messaging tools are for. But what we want to do is close the deal. And as a friend or family member of somebody who has not voted yet, and especially someone who has not made up their mind who to vote for, you wind up being the most important person that can help them close the deal and actually go vote. Your personal relationship with them can mean a lot because you're conveying why you are supporting Donald Trump, why you think he's the best person for being the next president of the United States. And they already know you, and you know how to communicate with them. You may know what issue that they care the most about. You may have some common area, like your children in school together, or concerns about the economy, or frustrations because your business, maybe the place you worked had to lay a few people off. Whatever it might be, you have a point of interest about them that the ads and the door knocking and the mail coming in don't have, because you know the people personally and you are best able to reach out to them. That's why all the campaigns and Donald Trump himself and JD Vance and Elon Musk and others are saying, talk to your friends and family. It's extremely important. Now, in 2020, Jon Ossoff, who then was just a candidate for the United States Senate, a Democrat candidate for the United States Senate, his campaign innovated the way they do a friends and family program. And what they figured out is that if they could get people to upload the contacts on their phone, they could match those contacts. They can match those contacts to the voter file, sort of like when you allow Facebook or X or Instagram or Signal or Telegram or whatever app you might have to access your contacts, so that your app is richer and better able to be more personal for you. The social media apps will connect you with people who who are using the social media network. Well, in this case, what the Ossoff campaign did was connect activists with the voters who they needed to talk to and who they thought were most likely to talk to help convey why they should vote for Jon Ossoff. And this innovation worked. Remember, in Georgia, we had a runoff election, and we had an election on January the 5th, 2021, for both of our U.S. Senate seats. And the Democrats, both Democrat candidates, defeated the incumbent Republicans, and Jon Ossoff defeated conservative Senator David Perdue. And he attributed this innovative way of reaching out to friends and family, which they called relational organizing. He attributed that to a 3.8% increase in voter turnout. And then the Progressive Turnout Project tested tested the same methodology later in 2021 in Virginia, in Hampton Roads, Virginia, and they found that they could increase voter turnout by 9.2%. Well, I read about this from the Politico article that's on the screen right now in October of 2022. And I thought, oh no, all these polls that say that the Republicans are going to do well in the midterm elections, I'm not so sure about it, because this is a brilliant way to get out the vote. And as far as I could tell, no one on our side was doing it whatsoever. So after the 2022 election, I dug really deep and learned as much as I could about what the Democrats had done. And there's a white paper from the Jon Ossoff campaign, and a lot of other campaigns wrote down what they did. And frankly, they should have, because they were innovating, and they had a reason to be proud and to write down and let other people know what they had done. It was good work on their part. I may not agree with the politics and the policies, but when I see a good technique, I'm willing to acknowledge that it was a good technique. So I worked very hard to try to figure out apps that could do the same thing on our side. And at the time, there really weren't any apps that could do that. There are now 3 different apps that can match contacts. Buzz 360, the apps from Superfeed, which Turning Point and we even use as a Patriot Project, and others. So that family of apps, and then Numenar. And what we have settled on for the Friends and Family program for this election cycle is Numenar. And I am going to be talking to you about how to download that app and how to get it set up and to start reaching out to your friends and family. But before I do that, I want to go through what you're going to say when you reach out to your friends and family. If for some reason you listen to the second half when I'm explaining how to download the app, and you just do not feel like you are technically able to download the app, what I'm about to go over with how to talk to your friends and family will still apply. You can talk to your friends and family whether you have our fancy app or not. The point is, you know people who haven't voted who will vote for Trump, and we need to make sure that they go vote. And so, whether you use our app or not, the messaging is still going to apply. So I'm going to go through that first, and then I'm going to go through how to download the app and talk you through it step by step, and then stay around and answer any questions that you may have as you're downloading it and getting started. So let's talk about first how you're going to talk to people. We only have 72 hours left or less, really, because it's more like 48 hours. The polls will be closing in about 48, 49, 50 or so hours from now on the East Coast, and then a little bit longer on the West Coast. So we really only have about 2 more days left. So what you can do is send a pre-written text to the people who the app matches up, and we have a pre-written text in the app, or you could just write one if you don't want to use the app, something very simple that says, I'm voting for Trump because, and I hope you'll join me. Can we count on you to vote for Trump? And then if they say yes, you can ask, well, what is your plan to vote? What time of day are you planning to vote? So that you learn a little bit more and know what the plan is for them to vote. Or you can have so you could just use a text message that you're just copying and pasting and sending as a text message. Or you can use your text messaging app on your phone. So if you're in Apple, on an iPhone, it would be iMessage. On a Droid, it would be the text messaging app. And have a conversation with people. Hey, I'm reaching out to my contacts, and I just want to make sure that everyone is going to vote. I'm voting for Trump because I know he's going to secure the border and help grow the economy. And we were better off when he was president than we have been the last 4 years. Are you planning to vote for Trump? You could say something like that, just sort of to get the conversation going and figure out where they stand. If they're undecided still, then you could continue to talk to them about the reasons why you're supporting Trump and just have a conversation with them. And it doesn't have to be canned. You know how to talk to the people. You're their friends. You're their family members. The other thing is you could pick up the phone and have a phone call with them. So you don't have to use an app. You don't have to even text message. You can make a phone call to the people who you know personally to make sure that they go vote. And finally, if it's somebody who is your neighbor or someone you're going to see at work tomorrow, you could talk to them face to face. So those are the ways you can communicate with people. Now, what you're going to say. You want to talk to the people the way you normally would talk to them. So if you do not use our canned pre-written text message, then think about who the person is and talk to them the way you normally would. For instance, if it were my father who came up who hadn't voted, I might say something. I would not send a text message to my dad that says something like, are you voting for A, Kamala Harris, B, Donald J. Trump, or C, undecided? That is so weird. It's like not something that I would say to my dad. Maybe I would have done that in second or third grade and written a note to him, but I don't do that anymore. I talk to him, and that is just not how I talk to my dad. It's probably not how you talk to your parents either. So I'd probably say something more like, hey, Dad, you're voting for Trump, right? And then when he says, yes, of course I am, then I'd say, are you going to vote in the morning or in the afternoon on Tuesday? Do you need me to give you a ride to the polls? Something like that. So I'm just having a conversation with them the way I normally talk to them. If it's a friend, here's an example of a friend that I know from playgroup when my children were very small. My children are now 21 years old. I have boy-girl twins, or I guess it's male, female, or woman, man, because they're not children anymore, not boys and girls. But anyway, I have twins who are 21 years old. And back when they were smaller, we had play groups together, and I'm still in touch with several of the moms from the play groups. And one of them and I have really talked a lot about what happened to Lake and Riley this year. The reason we've talked a lot about it is because Lake and Riley went to the same elementary school as our children, and she was from our community. So her murder really hit home for our entire community. So I might say something to her like, hey, we've talked a lot about Laken Riley and the need to secure the border. I'm planning to vote for Trump because I know he'll seal the border and make America safe again. Are you planning to vote for Trump also? Do you see, that's a little bit different than how I talked to my dad. It's really fast and short with my dad. With a person who I know cares about the border, it's a little bit different conversation, but still I'm getting the same information out of each person. And then finally, when you match people up in the app, you may see that some of the people who you know have already received a mail-in ballot, but they have not returned the mail-in ballot, or they've put it in the mail, but it hasn't been received yet. So on our system, it appears that they still have a ballot outstanding. If that happens, you might want to send a text message to them, or let's say it's your neighbor, right? So instead of sending a text message, you might just go knock on the door and make sure that they've turned the ballot in. And if they haven't and they need a ride to go turn it in, you could offer to give them a ride. So those are the kind of ways that you would talk to people. You're talking to them the way you really know them. Now, what happens if they say they're voting for Kamala Harris? What I recommend is that you just very politely disengage from the conversation and maintain your relationship with your friends and family. I think that that's extremely important, and there's no need to burn bridges with people who are your friends and family. We live in the same country, and I think it's important to maintain that relationship, especially if it's a family member who you're going to be having Thanksgiving with in a few weeks. So just say something like, oh, well, I'm not doing that. I'm not voting for Kamala, but that's okay. At least we live in a country where we're both able to vote, and I'll see you at Thanksgiving. You can just say something really polite to disengage and not get in a huge argument with them. Now, if you think that the person is persuadable still, and they say they think they're voting for Kamala, but they're not quite sure, or you just think they might be persuaded, then one thing that you could do is say, hey, check out the KamalaQuiz.com to learn more about her record before you go vote for her. Our website, KamalaQuiz.com, is a Jeopardy-style website that has different questions on it that they can just pull up the website, click on the I guess it's really the answer, read the answer, and then select a multiple choice option for the question. It's Jeopardy, so it's backwards. It's not a question and an answer. It's an answer and a question. But the point is, they could do that, and they can learn more about her record and figure out if they really know what she did as Attorney General, as United States Senator, and as Vice President. So that is an option to give them more information without you just like being in their face and angry about it. So that's something you could do, but you use your best judgment on that. And again, I really recommend that we maintain relationships with friends and family. Okay, now, if they're undecided, this is where you really can be extremely helpful. If they're undecided, try to find out what their most important issue is. And on our app, I'll show you how there are a few question that we have that you could look at and use to ask them what their favorite issue is, or their most important issue is. It's 5 different issues. Some are very liberal stances and some are very conservative stances, but that kind of gives you an idea of where they stand. And then if, for instance, they're very concerned about protecting the Second Amendment, well, they're probably going to vote for Trump. You just may need to give them a little bit more information. But if they see that their most important issue is access to abortion, they probably are not going to vote for Trump. So it just sort of gives you a little bit of information with that. And Trump has said things that you still may even be able to use if they see access to abortion is important to them, that he's talked about, that you might be able to still convince them to vote for him. So it's important to figure out what is their most important issue. Also, you can talk about Trump's platform and the accomplishments that he had as president. And you may be going, yeah, well, Jenny Beth, I don't know where to find the platform and his accomplishments. How am I going to find that? Well, we have that for you. If you go to the website tpp.me, TPP like Tea Party Patriots, we have a short URL, tpp.me/Trump info. We list the platform planks that he has listed. We also link to the accomplishments that he had when he was president in the archive whitehouse.gov page. And we have some talking points for why you might be supporting President Trump that you could copy and paste. Also, we have information about Kamala's record, and we have links. You can open up a fact sheet, and it has links to news articles that support what we're saying about her record. So you can give them facts backed up by news articles about her record. You can find that by going to tpp.me/Kamala info. So those are the three different websites. I already went over Kamala quiz. Now, if you go to the websites, this is what the Kamala info page looks like. So you just sort of have an idea of what that looks like. And then this is what the Trump page looks like. You have a little bit of an idea of what the Trump page looks like. It's text heavy, but it does give you information that you could copy and paste if you needed to in a text message. We also have several different reasons why you could copy and paste for why you're voting for Trump. So if you need it written out for you and you'd prefer to have something that's very simple, that's available for you as well. One last website that you should be aware of, and that is willyourdaughterbenext.com. If you go to that website, it has our 30-second ad that we ran in Georgia. And the ad highlights different young women, girls, and older women who have been killed by illegal immigrants. And it's a very short 30-second ad urging people to consider Kamala Harris's record as vice president when it comes to securing the border or leaving it wide open, and asking people to consider whether their mother, daughter, sister, or wife would be next. So you could share that website as well. Okay, so, and you can find that by going to willyourdaughterbenext.com. And then if they're voting for Trump, then make sure you're asking what their plan to vote is. And if you know they have an absentee ballot still outstanding, make sure you know what their plan is to get that ballot back in by Tuesday. They need to get that ballot back into their election office by Tuesday. And since we are only 50 or so hours from polls closing, I highly recommend that they hand deliver that ballot and get it back in without going through the United States Postal Service, because we're just so close to voting ending. Also, if they're a huge Trump supporter, you could have them go to winelections.com to download the app and to get a PDF about what we're going over here today. And then I encourage you to ping them again on Tuesday around noon and just make sure they voted. And if they haven't voted, figure out if they need a ride, what time they're planning to vote, and just continue to encourage them to go vote. Okay, now let's get to work on the app. So what we're going to do next, after this slide, I'm going to show you slides with screenshots of what the phone will look like when you're using the app. But some of you may be listening to this and going, okay, come on, get to it. I just want to know how I can get started. So I'm going to very quickly give you a highlight of what we're going over, and then we'll go over it in more detail. And I'll pause at each screen as we move forward so you have time to take action and I can answer any questions that you might have. So you're going to download the Numenar app, then you'll download that from the Apple Play Store or the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Then you will set up your email address and password and sign up as a new user. You'll verify your email, and then you'll be inside the app. The app will ask you for access to your location. Go ahead and say yes to that, because that'll give you the opportunity to help your neighbors vote in addition to helping your friends and family. Then you will select the option that says help your friends vote. When you select that, the app's going to pop up and ask you whether it can access your contacts. Say yes to accessing your contacts. Then after you do that, you'll select the option that says match contacts, and then wait a minute or two. It might take a couple of minutes if you have a lot of contacts. Then you're going to get a list of people who you know who have not voted and who lean Republican. And you'll just tap on their name, go into their name, and you can either send the pre-written text message, or you know who they are now, and you can go into your text messaging app and start a conversation with them. So let's download the app. In the chat log, we are going to have Kevin or someone on my team is going to post the links for the Google Play Store for Numenar, and also for the Apple App Store. So if you have an iPhone, you'll click the one for the Apple App Store. If you have a Droid, you'll click the one for the Google Play Store. And that should automatically open up the App Store on your phone to the Numenar app. Alternatively, you can go to your app store on your phone and search for Numenar, and then select download. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to check and see if there are any questions. So if you have a question, feel free to type that into the chat log, and we'll try to answer those. And the links are already in the chat log, so you should be able to see those links in the chat log. So just download Numenar from the App Store. When you look at it and you search for it, you're going to see a blue square as the icon for the app, and it has little white circles in it with some lines connecting it. So sort of like some nodes connected with lines. And if you live in a state that is not a swing state, let's say you live in Alabama, but do you know anyone in a swing state? So if you live in Alabama, but you know anyone who's in Arizona or Nevada or Georgia or North Carolina, especially Georgia or North Carolina, if you're in Alabama or Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, then you can still download it and try matching up your contacts to the to that state. And you might find that you know a couple of people who are in Georgia or North Carolina who still have not voted, in which case you could reach out to them to encourage them to vote. Okay, now you should have had time to go ahead and press the download button. So when you have done that, you will tap login. You'll open up Numenar, and then you will tap login. And then after you tap login, it's probably going to pop up a message asking if the app Numenar can connect to your browser for numenar.com to log in. Just go ahead and say yes. It isn't a security risk. It's just making sure you understand the app it's connecting to the web on the back end. Then enter your email address and your password and select sign up. So when you have done that, that'll probably take you about maybe 30 or 60 seconds to do. Once you've done that, you're going to get a message that tells you that you have an email has been sent to you, and you'll have to swap over to your email app. So I'm going to just pause for just a moment and see if anyone has questions, and give you the chance to download or to set up your email address and password. So if you've already done that, just bear with us as we move through it. You're welcome to go ahead and start matching contacts if you've already gotten into the app. So feel free to go ahead and start matching contacts if you're already in the app. But if not, you're going to select login. Then you're going to type your email address and password and select sign up. So when you have done that, and it'll make you put a pretty strong it will make you put a pretty strong password in, and you'll have to have a special character. And then if you have any questions at all, please put them in the chat log, because we're monitoring the chat log. I'm checking it out. And if you have any questions at all, we'll answer those questions for you, like Susan who asked about Alabama. So put those in and we'll answer them for you. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I used to program computers, and I've done a lot of training on how to use software in my day. So I don't mind being asked questions about how to use the app, and I'm happy to help with it. All right. Now, once you have entered your email address and password, you're going to get a screen that says that that you've been sent an email. When that happens, what you want to do, there we go. Come on. I'm trying to get okay. Then you're going to switch out of the Numenar app on your phone, and then you'll go into the Mail app on your phone. So if you're in Apple, um, you'll just go out of Numenar by lifting up, and you'll see the different apps that are open, or you can go to the home screen. You kind of swipe up, then you go to this home screen and you pick your email app. Open up your email app and click confirm your account. And then once you confirm your account, it's likely going to take you right back into the app, and it'll be connected. If for some reason it goes into the browser, then you'll have to log in one more time. And that's fine. You may have to log in one more time and then swap out of your browser back over to your to Numenar. So once you get that confirmed and you are you've confirmed your email address, then Numenar is going to ask you to enter your first name, your last name, your address, and your phone number. So please go ahead and do that. Enter your first name, your last name, and your phone number. And then you'll be inside the app. Once you're inside the app, it's going to ask you if it can connect with your location. I encourage you to do that because there is an option, and I'll show this to you on the next screen, that says that you can help your neighbors vote. And if you have any situation, I'm sorry, that means that you could go tomorrow or maybe even today. There's still a few hours of maybe just an hour left of sunlight since we fell backwards today, but you should be able to go in and see who of your neighbors still have not voted, and you could go knock on their doors and remind them to vote and encourage them to vote for Trump. So that's what that option will give you. Okay, so once you've done that, then you'll have to select the organization. And when you select the organization, you're going to select Tea Party Patriots Citizens Fund, and then the state. So AZ for Arizona, GA for Georgia. If you are in Wisconsin, we found there's a little glitch in the system. If you type in Tea Party Patriots Citizens Fund, it's kind of hard to get to Wisconsin. So the better thing is, once all those organizations pop up and you see the organizations, you can just scroll to the bottom and you'll find it near the bottom. So you want to find the state where you are and select the right one, and then you'll be inside our part of Numenar for your state. Once you have done that, then you will be at the screen where you can either help your friends vote or help your neighbors vote. And the part where it says help your neighbors vote, I don't have screenshots of that, but if you allowed it to access your location, when you tap on that, it's going to pull up a map of the people who are near you who lean Republican who have not voted. Right now, don't do that. If you did do that, just click back on the home button so you get back to these two options where it says help your friends vote or help your neighbors vote, and select help your friends vote. Once you've selected help your friends vote, it's going to ask you if you will allow the app to access your contacts. Go ahead and say yes, and then select match contacts. Now, once you've matched the contacts, it might take a minute to match them up. It might be pretty fast, or it might take a couple of minutes depending on how many contacts you have. But when you do that, you're going to get a list of people who who haven't voted. Your list may be one or two people, especially if you're in Georgia. It may be a pretty small list of people because so many people have already voted in Georgia and several of the other states. But if it's only 6 contacts like James had, that is perfectly normal. That it's okay. It may only be a handful, it may be 20 or 30, it just sort of depends on this particular phone that I have matched right here, I've got 6 people. On my regular phone where I have 25,000 contacts, I have quite a few more who I've been reaching out to throughout the day today. Now, you may be going, wait a minute, why don't I have more? Or how is it figuring out who to match with? It is matching based on phone number. And so that means that you have to have the cell phone number, and then the app is accessing voter data and consumer data. And the consumer data is tied to voter data. And so it is matching the phone number to the voter file to tell you who the voter is. It is not matching by name, and it is not matching, it is only matching by phone number. It is possible that you're not seeing more people for a few reasons. One, we just don't have their phone number in the voter file or in the app connected to the voter file. Two, they have already voted. If they've already voted, we're trying our best to make it where the people who've already voted are not showing up for you anymore. Three, they do not lean Republican. They lean more towards the Democrat side. And if that's the case, then they would not show up. But let's say you have 6 like James. James, those 6 people are the most important people you can reach out to between now and Tuesday. Please reach out to them and encourage them to vote, and make sure they have a plan to vote. So what you do after you find it, let's say that the first name on your list is George Washington. You just tap the name, and then it's going to open up George Washington's a screen with George Washington. And you can just send the text message that we have pre-populated. So you could just press send, and that's all you have to do. And at the bottom of the text message gives a link to your Secretary of State's website, so they can find their voting location and polling time and all of that. It links to the official website of your Secretary of State's on your official Secretary of State's website. And then at the bottom, it asks if you can count on them to vote for Trump. So you're welcome to send that message. Or you can press send text. It's going to pop up in your text messaging app, and you can edit the text however you would like. So if you want to modify it slightly or say something different, you're welcome to do that as well. And then just press send, and it'll take you automatically right onto the next voter. So that's one way you can use the app. The other way is that when you're inside the person's name, like George Washington, up on the top right-hand side of the screen, so I need to point to the left because that's what it'll look like on the camera. On the top right-hand side of the screen is the word survey. If you type survey, you see that we have 4 different questions and a blank note field that you can ask your friends. There is not a simple way for you to just tap on those to send it automatically, but those are the kind of questions you need to be getting the answer to right now. Are they planning to vote? Who are they planning to vote for? What is their plan to vote? And if they're still undecided, what is their most important issue? And then if they're undecided and you figure out what their most important issue is, you can keep talking to them to try to convince them to vote for Trump. So that is how the survey works. You're welcome to fill out and answer just one question of the survey. You can answer all 4 questions. You could just put something in the notes field. Just each time you do that, press save. It is very important that you press save. And then when you press save, you can go back in and edit the survey responses. So maybe they say they're voting, but you're waiting for them to answer the text message to say who they're voting for. While you're doing that, you're texting other people. Then you can just open their name back up and add that they're voting for Trump and press save again if they reply during that time. Okay. To when you get into the survey, you would want to swap in between the survey and back over to your text messaging app, or you might pick up the phone and call them and use a phone app on your phone rather than text messaging. Or if you see them in person, like if it's a colleague that you're going to see at work tomorrow, or if you're a parent and you're going to see them in the carpool line or something, you could just talk to them. You don't necessarily have to text them. You don't have to call them. You just need to be communicating with them the way you normally communicate. Remember, the reason it's called relational is because it's about the relationships you already have with these friends and family. Now, it is possible that names do not match exactly. So you may see a situation where on the screen right now, we're showing John Quincy Adams, and he on ours matches up to John Madison. Um, but we know for certain that that phone number belongs to John Quincy Adams. If that is the case, then tap on his name, go up to the survey option, scroll down to the notes, and who um, answer whose phone number it belongs to. So just put in that in the notes, like go, this phone number belongs to John Quincy Adams, not John Madison, and I know this, or James Madison. I think it says John Madison there. John Michael. Okay, I couldn't read it from where I'm sitting. So John Michael. I know it isn't John Michael's phone number because John Quincy Adams is my next door neighbor, and I talk to him all the time. Just put something like that. After the election, we'll sift through those notes and try to clean up the voter information based on the feedback that you give us, so that next time when we use it, we've got better voter data for next time. Okay, so now we've got a question. Whoops. We have a question about how long will the app work? Please, the app is going to work all the way through Tuesday. So go ahead and keep reaching out tonight, tomorrow, all day tomorrow, and then on Tuesday as well. What we will not be able to do, I do not think, is that throughout the day on Tuesday, I'm not sure that voter data is being updated. So if it's marked as not having voted tomorrow night, it's probably going to be marked as not having voted all day Tuesday. So you'll just have to reach out and ask them if they voted and make sure they voted. But it'll be up all the rest of today, all day tomorrow, and all day Tuesday. Okay, now, if you have questions, when we finish this live broadcast, you are welcome to email us at support@teapartypatriots.org. And don't worry, I'm still going to be here to answer more questions. So keep typing answer questions into the chat log. I'm just going through how you can communicate with us after we finish the live broadcast. So you can email us at support@teapartypatriots.org. We have another live Zoom session tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So 7 Central, 6 Mountain Time, and I'm sorry, that would be 8. I'm so messed up. 8 Central, 7 Mountain Time, or 6 p.m. Pacific Time. So you can join that. You can join that by going to winelections.com. And it's possible we may still do another Zoom tomorrow, but we have not scheduled that. If we do, we'll put that out on winelections.com. So we're here to help you through the duration. And you can email us at support@teapartypatriots.org if you have questions. Now, someone is asking, what does it mean when it says request ballot? Prior to today, that would have meant, like, if it was 2 weeks ago and you were using the app, then that would have meant that they could still request a ballot, an absentee ballot, and get a mail-in ballot. So you could tell them to request an absentee ballot. But we're no longer at a point where they can request mail-in ballots. I think in all the states, it's pretty much they've got to go vote on Tuesday unless they have a mail-in ballot in their hand already. So just consider that phrase, request ballot. Think of it as meaning has not voted. Just think of request ballot equals has not voted. And then that should just help you. Now, if you scroll to the bottom of your list, you're going to see another set of names, and those see something like, I've got to open it on mine so I know exactly what it says. That one doesn't have any. It's probably going to see something like a return ballot, or needs to return ballot, or has ballot. I've forgotten. I'm trying to get the phrase up. Give me just a second. But that means they have a mail-in ballot and they need to get that mail-in ballot returned. They could, and I would recommend, if they still have a mail-in ballot, they need to go physically to their local election office and return it. And in most places, that also could be returned at their local precinct or if you're in Arizona, you have voting centers, so they could take it in person to one of those as well, I'm pretty sure. But you probably know that better than I do about your state, and if you don't, then just tell them to call the local election office, or you can call it to find out. But they need to get that mail-in ballot returned, and it's very important. If you've heard people talking about chasing ballots and we're chasing ballots, this is you chasing ballots. You're chasing ballots by doing this. And that is exactly how this part works. So please make sure that you are getting all those people who have ballots still, that they return those ballots. Okay, what other questions? Has everybody downloaded the app and signed up? If you ran into any trouble with downloading the app or signing up, let me know. And let me know that, and just indicate that so we know and we can answer those questions. Otherwise, just maybe put yes in the chat, or in a reply if you're replying in X, so that we know that you have downloaded it. The other one says return ballot. So it says return ballot if they have a ballot in hand. All right. I'm not seeing any questions about how to download the app and sign in. What about if you are opening the app up and you've selected match contacts? Did anyone have any issues with being able to match up their contacts? If you've had issues matching up your contacts, go ahead and let us know. And then another question that we often have is, what do the colors mean? My list came back and I see different colors on it. The red means that they are modeled Republican voters. Blue, and we've tried to make sure that you're seeing a list of modeled Republicans, but it's possible that a Democrat slips through. If it's blue, it means they're modeled Democrat. Gray means that they are unaffiliated, and orange means that they are independent voters. Once you send a text message to them, the red turns to a green check mark, so you know that you've communicated with them. And then if you have any more questions, just let us know and we'll answer those questions. And if you don't, then we can go ahead and end this and not prolong it. But if you have questions, you can email us at support@teapartypatriots.org. And thank you so much for chasing the ballots and getting out the vote with your friends and family. We've got to make sure everyone we know votes and votes for Trump. Just remember this, if you're wondering whether it's worth your time to do this or not, in 2020, Arizona was officially decided by less than 10,000 votes. Georgia by 11,779, and Wisconsin by less than 20,000. Those three states combined determined who would be the next president, and they did so by fewer than 40,000 votes. So every single person you're contacting right now can make a difference. And in Arizona in 2022, the attorney general, who is a Democrat who was elected in 2022, won that election by fewer than 250 votes. Every single vote matters. If the election winds up being as close as all the national polling is saying, then this app can make all the difference. So please reach out to your friends and family, whether you're using the app or you're just reaching out to them the old-fashioned way. Make sure they plan to vote for Trump and make sure they make a plan to vote. And then if you need any help from us, email us at support@teapartypatriots.org. Thank you so much. Oh, and fight, 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 vote, vote, vote.